Drives to make an appointment, sponsor code 3046, or call Sturdy at 508-236-8555. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ramo, you have anything?
Yeah, we have another fundraiser for the Norton Founder's Day. It's at the Chateau Restaurant on Thursday, June 7th. And again, 20% of your order, as long as you bring a coupon indicating it's for the fundraiser, will go towards the Founder's Day. And there's also, we have a note from Charles Wicker that the Water Bodies Committee is planning to hold a cleanup around the shore of the Chartley Pond while the water is down low, and they're hoping to hold this on June 30th from 9 to 12. They still haven't finalized all their plans, but I want to just make sure people are aware of it and keep an eye for it. They're planning on hopefully being able to meet up at the Tavern on the Hill parking lot and go down and clean up the shore and what would normally be covered with water right now. I know one of the pictures I saw, it was like a recliner or something sitting in there. So they're going to try to clean up a little bit while the water has receded.
Mr. Yunus, how long is that water going to be down? Is it going to be there for a while?
Just until they finish the repair, so the repair will probably take all summer.
Okay. I mean, this isn't something they have to worry about. I mean, the water's the lowest I've
Oh,
ever
yeah,
seen.
then
I
it's
mean,
going to come right back up. No.
Yeah, no, I want to make sure that
I'll
they
double
have
check.
time
on this.
between
Yeah,
dam repairs and getting this done. The water's very low right now. It's,
Yeah, I've never seen it like that.
yeah, I don't remember ever seeing it that low either. Anything else?
That's all I've got.
Mr. Steele?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Clarity?
All set, Mr. Chairman.
I think I have. I have a couple, actually. This Saturday, the Gold Star Committee will be in front of the Roach Brothers soliciting, selling T-shirts. We have a couple raffle items we're going to be raffling off. If anyone's coming around, there will be a few of us out there trying to raise some additional funds for the Trip Memorial. And there is a meeting that I'm on. I'll find it here. Maybe not. Give me a moment here to see if I can find this thing. The Norton Village Center Visioning Session is going to be held on Thursday, June 14th. That's our off week, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Yale Elementary School. And what this is about is it's Serped, and working with Serped and others, it's determining where the Norton Village Center actually is. And it's going to focus on activities within a 10 to 12 minute walk from Library Square, west and east on main roads, Mansfield and Taunton Avenue. The vision is a shared community vision plan which will give direction to improve driving, walking, and biking in the area. As a shared vision, it will encourage public and private investment that creates a vibrant economic center, and why a village, a traditional New England village, is the center of town life, is walkable and alive with activity. Using this concept can help us visualize the area's potential. We're in the very, very beginning of this project, but we've got a lot of different ideas we're kicking around. And again, we'd like anyone to come. We're looking for input, public input. So again, that'll be on Thursday, June 14th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Yale Elementary School. I'm going to skip over a few things and come to, we have a couple of interviews, and I know they're here, and I'm sure they'd love to sit and listen to all we have to say tonight, but I think it's probably a good idea to take it out of order. If no one has any problem with that. It's the Norton Board of Selectmen's representative, the Serpent Commission, Mr. Ralph Stefanelli and Sandra Overhead, have both requested to be appointed. So Mr. Stefanelli is our present representative. Mr. Stefanelli, you have anything you would like to say? Briefly?
Hey, I could take an hour. Especially when it comes to millions of dollars.
Evening.
wanted to give to you, each of you, last night's annual meeting, the 2018 annual report. It includes who Serpent is and what they do. Very enlightening program. I'll give you a sketch
Thank you.
of what we do at Serpent.
Thank you.
How we write the grants. How the grants are written. We don't write them, but how the grants are written.
Thanks.
And I'll keep it as close to an elevator speech as I can. I think you have my resume or bio, and it says, to whom it may concern, that the town manager and Norton select persons, that I'm requesting reappointment to the 2018-19 to be the town of Norton representative to the Southeastern Regional Planning and Economic Development Serpent. I, Ralph Stefanelli, at 12 James Street, bring to the table my organizational skills as a confident, professional communicator in a sincere, helpful, knowledgeable way. Oh, with a concern, I'm eating a cough drop, and I shouldn't be doing it. So if you'll excuse me, getting in the way. For the town of Norton and its future into the 21st century. The position of Serpent laid vacant for a while, and in 2013, I appealed to have that filling for the rep to be taken place. And from that, I came with a bio of Norton Zoning Board of Appeals experience. I was an elected planning board member. I started the Industrial Development Commission here in Norton back in the 80s with Butch Rich and the planners at that time. I'm an 18-year member of the Norton Housing Authority. I served as the Serpent rep while I was on the planning board, and I served and am serving the town of Norton as its Serpent rep. I'm a member of the 300th Founders Day Committee and the Norton Historical Society. And just to give you a quickie, here goes the elevator speech. At last night's meeting, and you'll find it in that annual, we're in the process now of a village center vision plans. It's in the works. We don't know if all of you are aware of it, but through...
I just announced it.
Pardon me?
I just announced it.
Oh, okay, good.
I serve on the committee myself.
Excellent. And Tabitha was at the meeting last night, and she's in need of some volunteers to be on that committee. But if you ever wanted to be on a committee that would be giving you some vision as to where Norton might be headed, that would be one to consider contacting Planning Board. The Leonard Business Park, the culmination of there's a possibility of 800 new jobs here in Norton. That's a large number. That was taken care of when we changed the zoning, when the zoning was changed on Leonard Street. And the tax revenue is going to be through the roof. And I'd like at this time to thank the people who really pushed this and helped us, and that was Representative Howitt and Barrows and Timothy, and Timothy was not in office then. There's something new going on between Foxborough, Mansfield, and Norton with the infrastructure and the water storage that they just secured $1.8 million. And that overall project's going to bring into those three towns $87 million. The passenger mitigation plan is ongoing right now for May the 11th through the 26th. And the Mansfield-Norton Collaboration Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Plan is working on a grant for $10,000 to $20,000. The projects that have been completed and working on now at Serpide, since you have the annual, if you went to page 9, you would see that we've completed the zoning map revisions. The rail extension is ongoing. They're working on the completion of the Complete Streets application. I mentioned the $1.8 million sewer project. And the Condyne Business Park has already waiting for one of the largest awards for its design and completion from the state. They did an outstanding job. I would appreciate your considering letting me be reappointed to the Serpide, Southeastern Regional Division, Economics, Planning. Thank you for your time.
Anyone
Are
have
there any
question?
questions?
Anyone have any questions? First, I have one. How often do you meet, and how often do you have?
We meet officially once a month. There is a summer vacation of July and August, but they still meet. But it's not an official because there are so many ongoing plans. They just completed the 3rd floor of the building on Broad Street with the latest computer analysis. And if you had a problem with streets or whatever it might be, they've gathered all of the algorithms that are needed to almost immediately give you a quickie thumb sketch of the things that are going on. For example, the 140 corridor. They're now working on Mansfield and Foxborough. I think they've completed ours. That's a corridor. So what's happening with Serpide is it's not just, hey, you're in Norton, we take your dues and this is what we can do for you. It's a bigger plan. And you want to be aware of the fact that they tried to combine Serpide in Mass with Rhode Island. And I think I was at that meeting here, and I said, guys,
A couple of waters on that ourselves.
yeah, don't be fooled. Don't let the dollar signs throw you, because they'll eat it up. Rhode Island is a work in progress since I've lived here 40 years. So those are things that you need to know about and be aware of. The money's out there. The staff is excellent. And they've gone ahead and just made it easier for us to tap in to data once the request is made. Any other questions?
How often, these meetings you have, how often are you able to attend?
Oh, I don't think I've missed but one. And if I do miss, one time I was late because they pushed it to 5:30. And that's the normal reading of the minutes,
Okay, thank you.
that sort of thing.
Anyone? Questions?
All set?
Comments?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
Appreciate your vote.
Sandy, come on up. Introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Sandy Allerhead, and I was also applying for the Serpide Commission. I've had the opportunity to work for the last 6 years pretty closely with Serpide on the bike path, seeing what wonderful work they do and how much they advocate for our town and for our projects. It's been a great experience working with them, and now I'd like to continue and kind of take on a different role and more active role and help out with Serpide and help them to make sure they advocate for Norton and get our projects prioritized as well. So for me, it's been a great experience working with them, and I just want to continue to work with them and advocate for Norton.
There's 6 years on that bike path.
I know, it's been a long time. We never thought it would be 6 years and still not have a path, so.
Would you be available to attend these meetings if the,
I would be, yes. I looked at the schedule and it definitely fits within my schedule.
anyone have any questions?
Really?
Well, we appreciate you volunteering.
Thank you.
It's tough. This is a position that was left vacant for a while.
Right.
I think we forced the town manager at one point to sit on some of it, so it's odd for us to actually have the opportunity to have two people interested in the position. You know, it's a good sign. Hopefully, more and more people will get involved.
Yeah, it's something I've looked at for a while. I know when we started, Jackie Schmidt, now Jones, had talked to us about the commission and explained to us about it and, tried to tell us how important it was that we continue to get representation from Norton to serve on that, so.
Okay. Well, thank you for.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone else set?
All set? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have two candidates, so I want to do an automatic nomination, put them both into consideration. Does anyone have any comments or questions before we take a vote? Yeah.
I think it's a unique and wonderful position to be in, that we actually have to make a choice. Usually, it's just hand stamping, because we're lucky if we get one person to fill two spots. And I want to thank both candidates for volunteering, and I appreciate both of them stepping up to the plate, and I hope whoever doesn't get the appointment, there are many, many needs of the town for people to volunteer, and I hope they'll follow through and find another niche.
Well said. Anyone else? Okay, so we're going to put both into automatic nomination for the position. That would be Mr. Ralph Stefanelli and Sandra Overhead. So what we'll do, we'll go around the table and we'll nominate the person we feel is the most qualified to do the job for us, so. And again, thank you both for volunteering. We appreciate that. And hopefully we'll have more discussions and opportunities to choose people, for different positions, so. So let's see. You're going to be the first, Mr.
So I nominate Ms. Allerhead. I think as she's becoming to get involved in the town, Ms. Stefanelli is graciously on several different committees. So I'd like to see Sandy and what she can do with it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Steele?
I also nominate Sandy. I've worked with her on some other committees, and I know that she's committed and diligent. I think she'll do a good job for us. At the same time, I too appreciate all the work that Mr. Stefanelli has done for us.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Salvo?
I'd like to nominate Ralph. Continuing to do what he's done in the past 10 years has brought a lot to this town over the last decade. I look at it as, if we didn't have time to serve, then it would be a different story, in my opinion. But as it is, I like to nominate Ralph.
Okay. Mr. Bramwell?
I don't know if nominate is really the word or vote, but I would nominate or vote for Ralph Stefanelli, mostly because of his experience. He's been our representative to Serpent. I think he's done a good job. And while I hate to not vote for someone new, because I want to get new blood, in this case, I feel that he is familiar with the people, and while I might not always agree with his politics or his point of view, I think we both respect each other enough that we understand each other, and I think I know he could be forceful enough to represent Norton.
Thanks, guys, for giving me the swing vote. I will say to both of you that you're both involved in the community, and I'm very, very appreciative of that fact. It's not often, like we've indicated, that we have an opportunity to make a choice. So thank you both for volunteering for that purpose. I am going to vote for Mr. Stefanelli. because I've known and worked with him for over 30 years. It's been 30 years, Ralph, that you and I started working together. And I believe he has the time and the background to continue to serve the community. So I believe that's probably in our best interest to have someone that really understands what's going on. At the same time, I've worked with Sandy on the bike path and some of the stuff that she's accomplished, which that was a monumental task to get started, and they've made some major strides and finally making it happen. So to that, I thank you for that. And I believe that at this point, it's in our best interest probably to have the experience on the board. So,
Just a question, there's no such thing as having an alternate. Could she serve as, I mean,
That was
at
my
one time there used to be, but I didn't know that it is anymore.
you know, I'm just bringing it up,
Yeah.
question.
We have another one, what is it, joint transportation, Mike?
Yeah.
You guys are always trying to find somebody for? I don't think there's an alternate on this one. I think the joint transportation
transportation
has a,
Okay.
If I may,
briefly, yes. We haven't voted yet, so be careful.
Well, actually, you did.
Yeah, we did.
Come on.
You did vote.
I wanted to reach out, well, let me get to the microphone. I wanted to reach out to Sandy and say to her, I've seen her work on the rail project. She's a committed individual. And sometimes the opportunity presents itself where alternates can be adjusted. The board has to vote on it from Serpide. And I'm going to make a recommendation to Jeff Walker and their staff to ask if Sandy could be a Serpide alternate. I may not be around for a while, and I've seen her work, and I've seen her commitment to the town. So I'm going to make the suggestion that, with your approval, I'll move forward with Jeff Walker and ask if an alternate for Norton, with her background and her resume, where it shows that she's involved in the town and wants to become more involved, I would not want to see Sandy just be on one committee. It's not fair. I've seen her work. So that would be my commitment, and report back to town manager how and when they do things like that.
Okay. Now, an alternate would not have any vote, but would be allowed to attend
Oh,
meetings.
that's correct. An alternate, someone who could sit in, even if the representative is there, so they can get the feel for how these millions of dollars how they come down and are spread out over roads and building and schools.
Bridges.
Affordable. There goes the long speech, but to let them be tuned into that, so that when projects from I will make that effort, and I will report back to Mike with your approval. Do I have your
Would you be
approval to
interested in
do
something
that?
like that?
Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great opportunity for you, because Ralph and I are getting old,
Older.
and eventually older, and eventually, other people are going to have to take over for us, so.
And she's shown all of the enthusiasm and energy for it. Come on.
I'd like that.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up, Bob. I appreciate
I
that.
hate to see good talent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially
Let's
when
reach
we
out.
have a hard time getting people to volunteer in this town to do.
See, we used to have a rep and an alternate. And for years, we couldn't fill the position, so
Correct.
we just went strictly to, I kind of remember taking a vote to abandon the alternate because we couldn't fill the one seat, never mind two. And that was years ago. But I'm totally receptive to you going back and see if we can activate that again.
It's a beautiful mentorship, not just from my point of view, but for them to see new talent, new people come on board and She may not be able to qualify for the free meal, but so what?
As long as you share yours, it'll be fine.
Thank you, and I'll get back to Mike on that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ralph.
Okay, so we have a vote to appoint Mr. Stefanelli. Sandy, really, we do appreciate your interest, and we'll wait for that vote. We'll wait for that vote to happen, and if it does happen, you don't have to come back. You know, you've already made your case, so if we get that, we'll notify you and let you know we're going to take the vote. But I'm for one and all in favor of doing that. That's a great idea. I believe the board feels the same way, so. But thank you for volunteering and coming forward. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take his dinner.
I'm going to twist their arm now.
Yeah, yeah. Good luck. Thank you. Okay, while we're on appointments, we also have a request from Joseph Oliveri. I am interested in serving in the Cemetery Commission. Please consider my name for appointment. He gives us his personal information and phone numbers, and he would like to be appointed to the Cemetery Commission. I would say at this point, we need all the help as we can get, but we're just starting to get involved in it now. We have, I volunteered to be on it because the cemetery on Nolan Street has been kind of like sitting still for a while. I don't plan on staying on it, but I do feel that it's important that we get the ball rolling and get things started. We've already hired an engineer to do some layouts. We've hired the Board of Selectmen, actually. We were the ones who originally bought the land to begin with. It wasn't the Cemetery Commission, it was us that did it. So with some outside assistance and funding, we were able to come up with some money, and we now have engineering work done, and we had to get permission from the Board of Health. We had to present the Board of Health with a plan on the cemetery. That was the last leg of the process. And about a month ago, we got permission from the Board of Health. It was unanimous that they would support us on allowing a cemetery to be used on that property. So everything's a go. The only holdup we're having right now is we have to put together some rules and regulations and take another look at the fees that we charge. And hopefully we can get that done between now and the end of the summer, so we can get the cemetery up and running. Not that anyone's in a hurry to use it, but I do believe it's something the town really, really needs to get done. So presently there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are five people, I believe, on the commission. And Mr. Oliveri would be number 6. I believe there's seven seats available, so there's one spot still open also. If anyone's interested, we do have one additional spot. Any questions? Chair, entertain a motion to appoint Mr. Joseph Oliveri to the Cemetery Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Okay, thank you. I'm going to go back and make sure I didn't miss anything now. Now, again, we want to remind everybody that Monday is the parade here in town. Town Hall will be closed.
Put the notes there, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's important that people know that the parade's going to be a little bit different this year because the common is under construction. We're doing the best we can, but, with the trees and everything that came down this winter, it's been a real mess out there, and other priorities have taken over, but we are behind the scenes, we're still working on it. The Welcome to Norton sign should be up very soon. That's going to be a major, major step in the right direction. And the fence casts have all been made now, and we're now actually casting new pieces for the fencing. So we are working in that direction. Unfortunately, we won't be able to hold the ceremonies there this year. So the VFW, the parade will go from Veterans Council is going to run the parade from the Yell down to the cemetery at Pine Street. To the end of Pine Street. And the Garden Club has done a very, very nice job of cleaning it up and putting some plants in there. It looks really nice. But we're going to proceed from Pine Street back to the Trent Memorial, and that's where all the speeches will be made and all that stuff. We're going to bypass the Common this year, and then back to the Yale School. So We have a request of Nicole Cuneo, Parks and Recreation Director, to hang a banner across Route 123 East Main Street in front of the Town Hall for the Founder's Day celebration to be held on Saturday, June 16, 2018, from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Henry A. Yale School. So she's requesting a banner to be put out front here, which we do for a number of occasions. We have a couple of special poles set up to handle that, so. Any questions?
No, I move that we approve the request to put the banner up for the Founder's Day.
Second.
Motion is second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, next we have a number of bids to be awarded. I'm going to turn it over to the town manager, Mr. Units.
These are our yearly bids through the Southeast Regional Services Group.
Can you explain what that is? People out there know we have some creative financing going on here.
Southeast Regional Services Group is a consortium of about 16 towns that join together to go out to bid on certain supplies, paper, highway supplies, water and sewer supplies, so that we can, also fuel, so that we can buy in bulk and get a better price. And we have a director who handles all the bids.
So it's a major cost of savings to the town.
Yes.
By far.
I have a question. Michael, is this bid for just the municipal side? Or is this
No.
for the schools, everything?
Schools too.
Everybody.
Well, my question is, in one of the articles that the school wrote about cutting $300,000 for supplies, is this what's supplies pertaining? Is this part of it, or?
I don't know, it could be other supplies. This is just paper, so,
Oh, okay. I know, I mean, I don't see that the
Yeah.
cost estimate being close to what they
Yeah.
posted, so.
yeah,
The
no,
question was-
that could be any other number of supplies.
Supplies could be a number of things. It could be books,
Yeah.
it could be pads, laptops, computers. It could be a bunch of different.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So the first bid is with WB Mason for paper. And you can see the different categories of the paper, 20-pound, 8.5 by 11 paper, which is $29.40 a case. And 3-hole punch paper, the same size, $30.90. Recycled paper, $30.60. What always amazes me is that the recycled paper is more than the new paper.
That's amazing, isn't it?
And then the 8.5 by 14, which is $31.90 a case, and 11 by 17, $30.90 per case, and 8.5 by 11, $32.40 a case, the 20-pound white. And the last bid is whatever the 25% cotton or similar is, must be something that is used at the school department. We only buy one case. Is $61.90. So you can see our estimated quantities each year. And so the total estimated contract for Norton is $35,670.50.
Any questions? Yeah.
Only question I have is, I know like when we do bidding, we see like the several bidders and where they fall.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get copies of?
Yep.
Okay.
And for the paper, the only bidder was WB Mason. And actually, some of their bids were lower than last year. Maybe they didn't know they were going to be the only.
Okay. That was-
There was competition at one point, but the companies don't survive. Even a lot of the Staples stores around here are closing now, so.
Okay, I move that we award the bid for paper supplies to WB Mason.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Units?
What do you have next? There's a water and sewer.
Sewer treatment. Yeah.
There's only a couple things under the water and sewer. Liquid potassium hydroxide. The estimated quantity is 50,000 gallons, and it's $2.92, $2.9258 per gallon. And also sodium hypochlorite, which comes in 55-gallon drums, and estimated quantity of 215, and it's $59.95 per drum. So the total is $159,179.25. And on this one, there were 5 bidders, and this company was the lowest bid.
Does this come out of their enterprise account?
Yeah,
Yes.
these are both out of
Just wanted-
enterprise account.
wanted to
That
confirm.
money is separate than, the enterprise account allows us to spend beyond the 2.5 limits, so this is allowing us, the Water and Sewer Commissioners, to take advantage of this bid. Same time, they can't award the contract, only the Board of Selectmen can award the contract, and that's why we're talking about it.
And in this case, like Univar USA was the low bidder, and it's $2. The first item there with it's $2.92 per gallon. Last year it was $3 a gallon, so little savings in that. And the other item that was $228.99 last year. So. Oh, that might not be one that we took. Let me see. No, that can't be a number 13.
Wow, that was a,
No, that's not,
that's gotta be something else.
yeah.
Kids are at it. Kids, call it the kids.
There's a lot of different items here that we don't,
All right, anyway, we have a request for contract award for water sewer treatment chemicals. Any questions?
I move that we award the water sewer treatment chemicals to the bidders, Univar USA and Roberts Chemicals.
Second.
A motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Next, Mr. Yunus.
and the last one is highway supplies, DPW supplies. And there's a number of items on the list that you can see, and what towns do use certain items.
Yeah, this is something we do every single year, and it's
Right.
best estimates we can possibly get, so. Anyone have any questions on the request?
The only, I think you've told us before in the past, on the unleaded gasoline, you get medium grade. Is that because the police cruisers
Yes.
work better on it?
And on these, most of these, there were 5 bidders.
You can see different companies receive certain bids
They
anyway,
did.
so it looks like they kind of shared it out,
Yep.
different companies as we were doing it.
And a lot of it depends on the location of the companies.
How far they have to travel?
Right.
$2.23 per gallon for gas isn't bad these days.
It's a bargain.
Yeah, sure. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the DPW suppliers as listed on the request.
So moved.
Second.
For discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Who's meeting upstairs tonight?
Zoning. I'll have to ask them why they switched to Thursday.
No, it's okay. I mean, just as an example, we've been talking about new town hall. Here's an example where we're trying to talk, and we've got all this background noise, and they're conducting important business up there. I get it,
It's your favorite.
you know, but it's just, the open concept isn't working anymore. Especially as they get angry, they get louder. Okay, under old business, we have nothing that I'm aware of. No, okay. Under town manager's report?
Just first item on the town manager's report. I provided you with a list of grants that were received this year, and I don't know if I've ever shared that with you, and I wanted to share it because, as you probably know, grant writing's very frustrating. A lot of work goes into it, and a lot of times you don't receive the grants. And so I just wanted to thank all the departments here. We have Planning, Police, Library, Council on Aging, Human Services, Town Common Committee, Conservation, and the Norton Emergency Management Agency for the efforts that they've done in getting some of this grant money, and I do appreciate it. And it totals $785,329.
So we have Planning Board, Police Department, Library, Council on Aging, Human Resources, Human Services. We did get a $25,000 grant for the town common, thanks to the help from our two state reps. Representatives Howard and Barrows were able to get us $25,000 through DCR. And I know there's an attempt to remove the position of conservation agent at the last town meeting, but based on the information I'm looking at, we're looking at close to $580,000 in grants that she was able to acquire last year. So I think she more than paid for herself in grant money alone.
And as you can see, one of those is that it's paying for the repair to the Chartley Dam, so we don't have to pay for that, so
Right.
that's very helpful.
That's $261,000 that we don't have to come up with to pay for something. Can't beat its read. It was at $308,000 the time we were done.
And then at the top, the planning, some of the stuff we talked about today, the complete street study and the village center vision planning, all grant money.
I noticed there was a donation from Norton Cable for the town hall. You know, we just talked about cost of paper, and it's my hope and desire between now and the time I don't serve here anymore, that we come up with some kind of an electronic
Well,
opportunity where we can, instead of having all this paper, we can have some kind of a pad or something we can work with.
we should look at doing that next year for sure. I know when I have my MFN meetings, we just download everything on our iPads and no
Exactly.
paper at all, and we should be getting to that.
And I think we need to take the lead, the selectmen, and start doing it first, then start expecting it from other departments also. You know, I know times are tough, maybe we can come up, the reason I bring it up, maybe we can get some kind of a grant
Grant, yeah.
or something where we can do it ourselves. We could have somebody look into that for us. That would be good.
And I provided you with a copy. The Board of Health voted 3-0 the other night to raise the age of tobacco sales in Norton to 21. I know Selectman Steele was very involved in bringing this forward and brought it actually to the Board of Health's attention, I believe. And so this, and also, I might not use the right term, the vaping flavored can only be sold at adult stores, not the convenience stores. So, sale of flavored
This has
tobacco
been approved
products.
by the Board of Health.
They voted 3-0 the other night.
In industrial zones.
Yes.
And I think Mansfield already is 21.
Well, I'm sorry.
Mansfield is already 21, I
Yeah,
believe.
that was one of the reasons why we were hoping the Board of Health would look at it, because the towns around us are 21.
Yeah.
So, you know, the kids are coming into Norton to buy, but the vaping issue, it's not that we're worried about 18-year-olds necessarily. It's all the way down in the middle school. You know, it's just too easy for the kids to get their hands on this stuff, and I don't know, the damage that the vaping does to their little brains. I think I'd rather they had a cigarette, you know? But
Not to beat this thing to go up in smoke, but what happens, you know, like when a minor gets caught for underage drinking? There's a penalty for it. What happens to an underage kid that smokes?
That's a
Will
good
call your
question.
parents, tell you don't do it again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll check on that with the Board of Health, yeah.
I mean, these rules and regulations are all abiding. I'm glad that people implement them, but if we're not gonna enforce them, I mean, it's the same thing in posting a sign, do not litter. They litter, what do we do about it? Nothing. Nothing gets, slap in the hand and go away.
I agree.
One reason I think maybe under 21 drinking probably has a higher penalty, it's because it's got a higher risk
Yeah.
involved than when you're
Immediate.
smoking, you're basically hurting yourself, and if you're underage drinking, you could possibly hurt somebody else.
But it's a good question. I'll try and find out if there
I'm
is.
just
Maybe
thinking,
some
I'm
penalty.
thinking of the whole concept about it, that's all, not,
I don't really know if there is a penalty for the person buying it. Maybe for the store there will be a penalty, but I'll check on that.
so if an older age kid goes and buys a pack of cigarettes and gives them to an underage kid,
Yeah.
what does he get charged with?
I'd be curious to find out, we're in the process, we're about
I
ready
don't know if we
to,
have a smoking bylaw or,
we're about ready to look at the additional marijuana sales and also in the area, and I'd be curious about what the penalties there are. The people that are caught, I don't know how it works, I mean, under 21. And by the way, this is a great time to make this restriction because the new law for marijuana is you have to be 21. So any smoking material is now required at the age of 21.
I'm gonna show my total lack of knowledge about the internet and everything. Can people buy tobacco products on the internet?
Yeah, you can, I think you can buy cigars, I don't know, I don't know.
I would think probably not, only because each state has state taxes.
well, it
So
probably
they
wouldn't be
probably
like,
can't.
you wouldn't be able to buy like, your carton or real brand cigarettes, but you might be able to buy rolling or your own tobacco through the mail type of stuff.
No, because I remember when we had the drugstore
'Cause that doesn't require
years
the
ago. It was weird because I knew one of the guys who ran a wholesaling company in Rhode Island, and they had two different rooms. One was Rhode Island cigarettes and one was Massachusetts cigarettes, because they had to have the right state stamp on them. So that would probably make it impossible to
Good
do
question.
cigarettes anyways, but I would think.
The other
possibly
products, I
tobacco
think
or
you
other
can,
things.
unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I've never acquired the taste, so I've never tried or, checked into internet sales. But I was just wondering where,
Check
you know,
into that tonight, let us know.
Okay.
Report
The
back
report
in 2
back,
weeks.
yeah.
what would you like?
Try banana, see if there's a banana flavor.
See what you can order.
Okay.
I'd like to see you bring some brownies into the next.
No, that's a scary thought. Okay, under town manager, anything else?
Yep. Just, we had the Tri-Town Chamber of Commerce had an
Like sweets.
economic development forum last Thursday. And I want to thank Tabitha from the planning department on helping me prepare for that. We had a slide presentation, PowerPoint presentation that we gave, and it was interesting. They were talking about the millennials a lot, and the fact that they don't want to own anything. They don't want to own a house, they don't want to own a car, they don't want to have to pay car insurance. And so, the focus now is that they want to live in apartments and they want to be able to get places. So they want to be close to train stations. And I know I was saying, like, if we developed along the reservoir and someone said, well, you could have like a shuttle for them. And they're not getting on a shuttle. They're going to Uber from there to the train station. But I was surprised that Foxborough just passed zoning on Route 1 where by right, you can have a building 70 feet high and with a special permit 150 feet high along Route 1. So I imagine that to target hotels, I don't know, but I was amazed at that. But it was interesting, to hear what other people were saying. And I was joking that Schneider Electric was there, and they just recently got a state grant and renovated their facility over there. It used to be the Foxborough Company. And they had said that millennials like an open concept, so they went to the open concept. And Beth Whirling was there. I turned to her, I said, who knew? We were ahead of the game.
Yeah.
We're hearing it now.
But I want to thank the chamber for allowing us to do that. It was helpful.
You hear that story today in the news about the 30-year-old, his parents sued him to
To move out.
move out? Pay attention, Mary.
Seriously, I've got a couple of maybe,
He's 30 years old, he doesn't work, an old junk car. And the parents actually, I believe it went all the way to Superior Court. And the judge basically said, hey, it's time to go. And what did the kid do? He went home. Is he going to appeal it now? So he's still in the house, and the parents can't get rid of him at the age of
They were
30.
gonna give him $1,100 to go find
Yeah,
him.
Yeah.
$1,100 to go find it.
First and last month, they were gonna give him
Yeah.
to go find his own spot, and he still wouldn't leave.
No job, no.
The other thing that surprised me is they said that there's a lot of jobs in the area, $20 an hour, that they can't fill. So there are jobs out there.
I've been trying for 2 years.
And we received a notice from the state that they're looking for lease space in Norton or Taunton.
saw that, yeah.
I hope they're legitimate in saying Norton. So I know I did talk to Condyne. They've already seen this online and are checking into it. So if there's anyone else is listening and knows of space available, they're looking for 24,600 square feet of usable area, and this is for the Department of Children and Families. And so it's Norton and Taunton that they're looking for, so
The only
the
area I can
RFP
think
is
of-
online.
The only place I can think of off the top of my head is the shopping center. They combined a number of stores, but that's not the only place we have.
And what they charge, I don't know if they're
Yeah,
gonna
I
win the
know.
bid.
That's right, yeah.
And I just wanted to bring up, I was reviewing the school committee meeting minutes the other day, and there were two statements that kind of drew my attention, and I kind of take issue with. The first one was made on May 7th at the school committee meeting, when Mrs. Cohen voiced her frustration at the way the school budget has not been supported. And the second statement was at the May 14th school committee meeting, also made by Mrs. Cohen, who stated the town needs a leader to guide us in a positive direction so that it's not always school versus town. The school committee should listen to her suggestion and begin leading, for it's the school committee that has created this school versus town climate. The committee continues to bring forward fantasy budgets despite my repeated request each year to present a fundable budget. Where did the school committee think $2.9 million was going to come from? They then whipped the parents into a frenzy. The town didn't send out a letter to residents encouraging them to show up at town meeting to have their voices heard, but the school department did send such a letter to all parents. I didn't see many, if any, residents stand up at town meeting and question the Norton Public Schools budget, though I did see many school supporters attacking the general government budgets. Some of these attacks were personal, especially when it came to the recreation department. I don't understand how we went from support for a full-time recreation director to attacks on a request to increase the hours of the part-time director, particularly in light of the vocal support of the previous Recreation Commission and its chairperson to this full-time director. Not once during the discussion did a leader from the school committee stand up and say, "Thank you for your support, but we understand there's only so much money available, and we encourage you to support the Finance Committee's recommendation." There were many questions about town departments and their budgets. We could close the entire town hall, lay everyone off, and we still wouldn't even come close to reaching $2.9 million. I told the school department in the fall of 2017 that there was only going to be enough revenue to support a 3% increase in their budget. Yet they came forward with an 11% increase. It's not sustainable, nor is it responsible. What would the increase be next year if they had 2.9 million this year, 4 million the following year? The town, and in particular the Finance Committee, have been very supportive of the schools. I remember time after time the Finance Committee reviewing every line item in the town budget, looking to cut and add to the school budget. The residents of Norton have approved borrowing for school projects since 2011 in excess of $20 million. The Board of Selectmen also supported the override question, though it was not approved by the voters. All this support in an era of continued decrease in school population in Norton and nationwide. There was an article last week, there were 500,000 less births in the United States last year than there was in 2007. It's a continuing trend. We have 758 less students in the Norton Public Schools now than we had in 2003. It would be 858, but we have 100 school choice students. We should not encourage the philosophy that's in Washington, D.C. right now, where no one works together anymore for the good of the many. We are Norton, and it's time to start acting like a community again. There are two sides to every debate, and usually only two answers, yes or no. Sometimes you need to accept the no answer, roll up your sleeves, and find the best way to make it work. You don't make it personal and start attacking individuals and shooting the messenger. I can remember when I was chairman of the school committee in my town, I was asked after a meeting when I was walking out by the reporter if I was upset. And he said, "You must be really upset." And I asked him why. He said, "They just voted against your request." I said, "Why would I be upset? I presented my case." The town meeting said, "No, that's their decision and you move on." It's my hope that next year the school department will present a budget within the funding guidelines. I ask residents to support all departments and their public servants. They are all needed to provide essential functions for the townspeople.
I would add, this last town meeting was probably one of the most rambunctious I've seen in many years. I remember the days, the reason why I became involved as a selectman, the old days when people used to come in from all around to sit and watch TV and watch the charades that were going on at the selectmen's meetings. And that's my main reason for getting involved. And I don't want to see the town go back to those days again. And I think what affected me most after this last town meeting was coming into the town hall the next day and listening to the angry outcry of people that work in this building. Like they felt like they were being not only challenged, but their jobs are being challenged, to offset the cost of, the schools and what it takes. Just a reminder to everyone, the town manager by charter is responsible for the finances of the town. That's just the way it is. And every department is required to submit the budget to the town manager, and that includes the school departments also. So it is his legal responsibility to make sure that we fall within the guidelines of Prop 2.5. We have to balance. We have to present a balanced budget. When this board of selectmen supported the override last year, we knew that we were going to be here this year. We saw it coming. We knew it was going to happen. And we're not going to be successful next year unless we step back a bit, take a deep breath, all of us. That includes the town manager, superintendent of schools, the selectmen, and the school committee. We need to all step back and figure out how we're going to take care of this issue again next year, because it's going to get tougher. It's not going to be any easier. I will predict right now that if we don't restrict our spending this year, Mr. Flaherty's been on the FinCom, he understands what I'm saying. Whatever money we spend between now and October is money available, funds available. You hear that term, available cash. You hear that free cash term all the time. It's nothing free, it's not available. It's money that has been turned back to the town for various reasons, for permitting or whatever reasons it might be. That what happens is, at the end of the year, all this money is turned back. It's become free cash. If we spend that money now, again in October, that is less money we have to spend the following year. People have to understand that. It's not gonna regenerate itself out of the sky. The only big hope we have in the future, in the foreseeable future, is the development of Leonard Street and the industrial park. That will get us into a position where financially we might be able to support some additional budget money, and that's called new growth. That falls under a different classification. It's not free cash, it's not available funds, it's new growth. So we have to figure out how we're going to do that. But I think we all need to figure out a way to come up with a creative way next year to come up with some funding I mean, to be to be laying off as many people as we are. And I heard, the comment about, I asked a question about unemployment. My opinion, if all the people that were laid off collect unemployment, we're not going to have enough money. So that 75,000 is going to get eaten up real fast.
That's not, the expense is going to be that they're retiring, so they're going to stay on the health
benefits,
insurance, so
yeah.
there's not going to be that savings.
Okay, so that savings is not going to happen either. That money that we're going to spend this year will be less money we have to spend next year. And people have to understand it. Under Proposition 2.5, we can only go up 2.5%. We have other ways of raising money, but that's the only way we can do it. And, the town of Norton has turned back, the departments in this town hall have turned back hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. I think it was over 600,000 last year that was turned back by being conservative and not spending that kind of money, making it not happen. So, I don't think there's anyone on this board that feels. I know we're all upset about the fact that the cuts that have to be made at the school side of the budget. We get that. We're still not back to where we were back in 2007 either. We're not even close to it as far as our manpower and what we want to do. The school resource officer that I wanted to see happen this year because of all the nonsense that's going on in the world, we couldn't afford to put that person into the schools. That additional person, which I think is very, very important. And unfortunately, we can't afford it. So I think we all need to just take a deep breath, take the summer off mentally, so to speak, come back in the fall and figure out how we're going to make things work in the future so that we all can do the best we can with what we have to offer. And that's how it's going to be. Until an override is passed, it's the way it's going to be in the town. And we are going to make some cuts and some sacrifices along the way. It's unfortunate. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Bramwell.
One thing, I didn't follow it through completely, but I had noticed that the school committee was talking about changing their meeting nights to Thursdays so that they could meet with the Board of Selectmen on occasion.
That would be nice.
And if that's the case, it might, like I said, I know it was proposed, I don't know if it ever went through. If that's the case, it might be a nice idea, if we're still on every other weeks, maybe once a month, if we have a joint meeting, just to, so we don't come butting heads at the end. We'll butt our heads right from the very beginning,
Sure.
all the way through the process.
We'll do it right at the same gate.
That way it won't hurt as much.
Right.
But no, at least it's going to force communication between us, and it's going to show the townspeople that we're working for one goal.
I'm going to make a comment, if you don't mind. I sit here with a lot of disrespect for comments that were made over the last 2 weeks about us in general. We're not the ones that made the override fail. We're all sitting here hoping that, whatever the outcome was, the outcome was. But to sit there and point fingers at us, that we need to do a better job or upseat us and put somebody else in there that will bring us into that level is absolutely disgusting, because no matter how we vote, we're not going to be the sole divider of the whole outcome of an election. It's the taxpayers of this town that voted that way. It wasn't the 5 members of this Board of Selectmen. It wasn't the town manager. It wasn't the FinCom. We did all we could to raise the right amount of money that was able to be given to the school. And I'll tell you, I take it really offense to the way that we're all treated and how somebody else is going to do a better job by replacing some of us. I don't see that happening, because the way an override is going to pass in this town is you get so many people that are divided over the whole ways that it's been taken in the last 10 years of no credibility with the school. Because every time they say that we're going to lay people off years and years ago when we had overrides, they never did that. And then they found money to do this, and they found money to do that. So to sit here and say, I would say that some of the people would vote for override if they showed credibility in what they really need the money for and what departments. But until they do that, I just don't see it happening.
We did that last year and it failed, so.
Yeah, I think, the one platform that people have to understand they do have, and I sat in here in this room myself, almost every finance committee meeting, I sat here to listen to what was going on. And that's the platform you have to talk about. That's where you should be sitting and asking questions and, trying to get an understanding about how it works. I know when I went on the finance committee back in '87, my eyes were wide open. I just couldn't believe and back in those days, by the way, we didn't have a strong town manager. It was an administrator. And the selectmen and the finance committee pretty much decided where the money was going to go in those days. It had nothing to do with the administrator. And it was really interesting to watch the process and how it worked. Every department would come in, make their plea, which they still do, and ask for a certain amount of money. That's where discussions should be made. And there were very, very few questions raised. And the finance committee, to their credit, and they're credible. I mean, they're doing the best they can. They understand the process, and they understand how it has to work. But, getting up in town meeting floor and grandstanding is basically what happens. And asking questions you don't understand, is mind-boggling to me. When the question about the new facade in the town hall came up, I almost fell out of my chair, because that was the most ridiculous comment I think I heard through the whole process. I was boss hog for a couple of weeks. I brought in prisoners. We painted the front of the building. I got paint donated for it. It didn't cost us anything. And it was like we had done something wrong. And it's ill-informed. People have to get more involved so they understand how the process works. And that's how it has to be.
At the end of the budgetary process with FinCom, there's a public hearing which is posted. And in the
Which
10
no one
years.
came to besides me this year.
Right, and in the 10 years that I was on FinCom, 4 people came, my kids came twice. And no one ever shows up to it. The questions, it's a good time to ask questions during there where it's not in the format of town meeting. I wish people would become more involved during the process as opposed to at the conclusion of the process.
I agree.
If I'm involved too, and I attend all the meetings, and I listen and take notes and write notes and put it on Facebook and YouTube.
We thank you, Peter, for doing that. Thank you. Mrs. Steele?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with Brad's suggestion that I think meeting more regularly. And I'd also like to just throw it out there, I've said it in private before, but as long as our board and the school committee continue to have monologues with the TV and not sit down and address the situations face to face, there is not going to be any coming together. And I'd just like to say that if somebody has a problem with somebody, let's talk to that person first before we do it on TV. Maybe it was misunderstood. We've seen the newspaper reporter misquote people. So I just feel that until the two boards start to deal with each other in a less passive-aggressive way, it doesn't matter. We can meet every other week, but if we don't talk about the problems that come up, where are we going? Nowhere.
But it shouldn't be an individual issue. It should be about the process and how we're getting to that. It shouldn't be one of us, said something wrong or whatever. We should be worried about how we're going to get to that next level.
We just did it tonight.
Well, not being indirectly, it's the truth. I don't know how I can say it without putting it on TV.
No,
It's the truth.
I'm not talking about rec. I'm talking about school committee.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway. Anything else on the manager's report? What's my agenda? Selectmen's report and mail. Mr. Salvo?
All said, thank you.
Mr. Bramwell.
Thank you.
Mr. Steele?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Flaherty?
What's up, Mr. Chairman?
I thought I had something. I do have a letter. We received a letter from Dr. Byetta telling us that Mr. Lincoln Lynch, the school business manager for the Norton Public Schools, is resigning his position with Norton Public Schools effective June 30th, 2018. Link will be going to Framingham, PS,
Public schools.
Public Schools, as Executive Director of Finance and Operation. Great opportunity for Lincoln, a tremendous loss for MPS. So I mean, I've had some dealings with Wink myself, and I think he did an outstanding job for the town, and I personally wish him well in his new position. I think it's a very, very important position for the town to have, and I think he's done a pretty good job for us. I know the one thing that comes to mind is for years we had Medicare funds that were available. We had no one to take care of it, and he has done a great job of bringing that money back into the town. That's just one thing I can think of at the top of my head, so but I wish him well. The rebuilding of the town common, Nancy Federici, who's a member of the Historic District Commission, sent out a letter to Norton's Historical Society people and others too. And just wanted to make everyone aware that as you drive by the town common in the next few weeks, you'll be seeing several fundraising signs focusing on generating awareness of the town common revitalization project and asking for donations to help with the ongoing repairs to the common. This is going to be a social media campaign using GoFundMe and Facebook. We're trying something different. We have to find someone who knows how to do this stuff first. One of the largest projects is the rebuilding and replacement of the iconic fence surrounding the common. This fence is over 140 years old and significant disrepair, and with a replacement estimate in the six figures, thoughts were to tear it down and either replace it with another style or possibly not replace it at all and go without a fence. With much thought and discussion, the Historic District Commission and Norton Town Common Revitalization Committee decision was to save the fence and use as much of the original material as possible and replace the rest with newly made pieces. Big decision to make and not the easiest way out. So as you can see, when you pass the common, the fence is in various states of repair. In order to continue the rebuilding, more funds are greatly needed, thus the decision to launch a campaign on the common has begun. Please take a minute to check out the GoFundMe page along with the Facebook link if you use social media, and also share it with your friends and family. Updates will be posted regularly as well. Help spread the word, and hopefully donations will be generated to help speed the repairs along. No donation is too small. If you would prefer to donate by check, please send the check to Town Hall, 70 East Main Street, Norton, Massachusetts, Attention Town Common Fund. And remember, saving history is making history. So thank you, Nancy, for putting that message out. We appreciate it. The warrants and minutes is my report, and a motion to approve an invoice warrant in the AP 46 dated May 17th, 2018, in the amount of $537,669.31.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Make a motion to approve biweekly payroll PR 24, the period ending May 19, 2018, dated May 24, 2018, in the amount of $1,297,748.66.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Approve invoice warrant AP 47 dated May 24, 2018, in the amount of $1,518,255.27.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Approval of minutes. You have any? No? You're slacking on your duties there, Mr. Town Manager. By the way, we are looking for a recording secretary, part-time. I believe the Finance Committee, too. It's Selectmen, Finance Committee,
Zoning
Zoning.
and the position in the planning.
Really? So we have a number of positions that we haven't filled for minutes, taking minutes. So if anyone out there is looking for a few hours a week, please contact us here at Town Hall, because our present secretary to my left isn't doing a good job of staying on top of the minutes. So. The next meeting's agenda will be held on June 7, 2018. It's a joint meeting with the Planning Board to appoint members to fill vacancy on the Planning Board. My understanding, we have 4 candidates right now,
That's pretty good.
Well,
which is very good. How many positions? 2?
2.
2. So we have 4 candidates for 2 positions, so that's
We're gonna make a decision again.
another one. Don't put me in the hot seat, okay? But I think I think that's going to be an interesting meeting. We might do it a bit different. We may interview them one night, maybe take a vote the next night, but we'll see how it goes. You know, just see how we do
It'd be
it.
nice if we could get their resumes before the meeting.
Yeah.
We'll get you that information. I believe some of the names you'll recognize anyway, people, so. Okay, we don't have anything for executive session, right?
Nope.
Okay. Everyone have a very safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully you come out and visit us at the parade on Monday.
Now be there.
Peter will be there.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't rain again.
Hopefully, every year it seems like it does
We'll be
rain.
up tomorrow, weather forecast,
70.
Keeler Channel.
Okay. Any
Nice.
any further information to come before the board? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Thank you. We're adjourned. Thanks, Shane.